agreeing to do the open studio with us before this 22nd annual exhibition that you will present online this year with the gallery.
Yeah.
I would like to start this conversation backtracking a little bit to Chandraguptha Thenuwara as a young graduate from the Institute of Aesthetics, as it was formerly known in Colombo, and ask you a little bit about this period in your life between 1981, of course the events of 1983, and shortly after which you left to Russia. Could you sort of take us through the most important events during these years and how they influenced your work as an artist?
Yeah, I think the turning point in my life is 1976, actually. It's when I decided to dedicate my life to art. So then from that point, then I found the school here. Earlier it's called College of Art. When I entered there, it was turned to the Institute of Aesthetic Studies under the Kalani University, although it's situated in Colombo, Horton Place. And that's the place called Haywood. That's the popular name for the institute at that time. And I graduated there in 1981. So there are two masters very important to my life. There are a lot of teachers, but two of them, one is H.A. Karunaratne. So you can see, still I can, some of his, he taught us how to appreciate the accidents, create and not to spoil the canvas, how to create the abstract sense. So, and from the other person is very important for me, the Stanley Abesinger. I was lucky to study under him his last year of teaching. So he came for only 2 years there at that time. So Jagat Veerasinghe, 1 year senior to me, and they studied under him also, and I also got a chance to study under him. And from that point I can still remember he said, "Oh, Thenuwara, you have various periods you will have." So it's kind of, like isms. No, the isms at that time I had not in my mind.
Yeah.
But he saw my paintings. Sometimes I'm painting kind of, dancers, and, I'm a great follower of the dancing bodies, those days. And so then I had series of dance, and same time kind of mixture of expressionistic color and, very vibrant compositions with the figures. So anyway, from the beginning and up to today, I'm a figurative painter. So that line is there always. But I try to do some abstract, but I can't do abstract works. Because with this reality, I can't go away. So too much things are happening around me. So but H.A. Karunaratne is very important to me because he created this sense of, color and, freedom of the color application, how color and form and shapes, feelings say something itself, without putting
sort of visual identity.
Yeah. So it's a kind of, even though I'm reflecting on his teaching today, now I can sometimes, he compare with the Leonardo da Vinci also sometimes when he gave us some exercises to look at that patch and try to reproduce it. And then I can remember now, so the Da Vinci also said, to find the composition, you have to look at the dirty patch, and that through that you can see your composition. Kind of how do you compose your painting. So that's one of the advice he gave to young artists. So that way, anyway, he's our main guru, Karunaratna H.A. And so that period ends with the 1981, but so 81 to 85, that's my transitional period to find up to until I left to Russia to study my higher studies in 1985. But I have had a short visit to Russia in 1983. So it for the 10-day visit, because of my Russian language competition I won, and so I got the chance to be there. So coming back, I showed my sketches and I said I want to study in Russia. So the Russian Cultural Center at that time, Soviet Cultural Center. So my teacher, Russian teacher, Dina Padustova, she said, give me some drawings and portfolio. We'll send it to Russia. And they sent that portfolio to Russia, Moscow, Surikov Institute. They accepted me based on that portfolio.
Yeah.
They sent me a ticket and everything. It's a kind of scholarship. So when I entered the institute in Russia also, and I know the foreign students dean for foreign students, he said to me, "Oh, colorist." From he remember my portfolio.
Yeah.
So then, so in Russia, there's a long period, continuously 7 years at the academic education. So it's like a starting from the beginning. So I don't want to get just a certificate, I want to study how to make art, how to work with the human figure. So I wanted to learn more on how to do the human figurative works. So Russia is the good place to be there. So when I told H.A. Karunaratna and Stanley Abesing about I'm leaving to Russia, so they too have two different kind of opinions. I know the H.A. Karu asked me, why are you going to Russia? There is no art. That kind of question, but he's not saying don't go. That's the opinion they had at that time on Russia. Russia is a restricted area, no one can, the socialist realism, communist party, why you are going there? I said, I want to study human figurative art. So they said, okay, you can go. But when I spoke with Stanley Abesing, so I told them that I'm going, because they are my favorite and, my loved teachers. So then, and he said, yes, good. Yeah, he has a European opinion because he traveled in Europe, He has a very democratic, liberal kind of idea. And he had no envy idea on Russia or something. Yes, it's the kind of, but I can see the difference of two people who are looking at same question to different way. But they encourage me, it says I can go. But so then that's the time when just after the Cold Wars, still Cold War is going on, anti-communism, and Americans are trying to say abstract art is the best art, is the freedom. And somehow I learned it from H.A. Karu. It's a great advantage for me to when I'm doing paintings. And still they had opinion that's a figurative art, it's a kind of, it's kind of prison, no freedom at all. Why you are repeating the figure, But anyway, that's the way I thought. And so that long period of study, I think till 90s. Then around 91, I just came for Sri Lanka for short visit to show my work here, mixed work with Russian some works, and which I did here. It's a kind of retrospective. It's a Lionel Venn Gallery sponsored that exhibition in 1991. So I showed the two sides of mine, so in the pre-Moscow and the after Moscow. So it's a kind of, telling to Sri Lankan audience or art lovers that I'm coming back soon. So the next year I came back after finishing my studies in 1992 after 7 years. So then I started to my exhibition career here, Moscow paintings, like that from 91. Every year I'm having exhibition except 2005. But next turning point came after the 1997 when I introduced my barrelism. But during my Russian period, Moscow period, also I paint a lot of sad pictures. That means lost and torture, but without blood. I made one painting when I just heard the killing of Vijay Kumaratunga here the same day. Next day we heard it from in Moscow, so 1988. So immediately I completed one work.
While you were in Moscow?
Yeah. So always, even though I studied in Moscow, so studied European language, kind of, the art language, but still what I did, my free compositions, always related to the Sri Lankan theme.
And your work, so as an activist, when did your work begin aligning itself with your direction as an activist? Where we see, of course, your work today from barrelism, which you say began in 1997, but also with the early works, if we're looking at 1992, Mirror Wall. So very much with your return from Moscow, we see, very clearly politically focused works. When did it begin align? When did your work as an activist begin?
I think it's my background also. My father was a communist, and later he lost his job because of his ideology, and he was a teacher, principal, and so from that the environment of the house also I'm seeing a lot of books on Soviet Russia and Russian books, and not in Russian language, but about Russia and the socialism, communism. And I liked the idea of these communist ideas and socialism, but not the direct way. So, but anyway, we were critical about what happened in the 1978 with the open economy here when I was a student. Also, that was our first fight start.
Yeah.
And against J.R. Jayawardena's government and the open economy, and so that anyway again the 1983 also happened in front of my eyes. So that was the main point to focus on one theme later. Even though in early 90s and end of 80s, I refer to the other torture and disappearances and killings in Sri Lanka, 1988-89 events here. But those are the kind of responding. Every day I am hearing the news. It's like Lebanon and Sri Lanka, Cyprus, the killing fields. You are crossing the road, looking at which side the bullets are coming. That's the Lebanon situation. The same situation in Sri Lanka all the time, every day. First news, either Sri Lanka or Lebanon, So the killing and, bloodshed, all the dealings, a lot of analysis of what's happening here. So that is why my mind always with that,
Yeah.
against the torture and the killing of the people, because life is very important. So so it's a rare thing we are getting our life. What you believe or not, but you have to have you have to keep your life alive, So it's the right of the person, whatever ideology you belong, and you can have your different opinion, and you can have a kind of lifestyles, but life you can't, no one can remove from you, so it has to be protected. From that point, that losing of life, it's a very crucial question for me.
Yeah.
It's Singali or Tamil or whatever. I don't care about that nationality. So life is the important part, because I love to paint the human figure also. From the beginning and always I'm working with the human figure. So I have to enjoy the figure, beauty and how amazing the bodies are even without clothes, Most of the work which we studied in Russia is the nude bodies.
Yeah.
And so that is why I think when I came back in 1992, end of 1992, after finishing my master's, so later 3 more years I tried to go back to Russia, and that is why my length of Soviet period came to 10 years. 7 years continuously, 3 years on and off. And I tried to finish my PhD there, but due to financial issues, I decided to do here and find a job here or work here. And so that is why it was kind of, the period, and so again concentrate on, I have to find my own language. When I came back, I know I can paint human figures. And here in Sri Lanka also very difficult to find the models also. So if you're asking a model, it's not Russia or France.
Yeah.
And so even though they are willing to say it is like photographs, not longer period artist forms. So I would like to observe the figure and that contact and connections, But it was difficult here.
Yeah.
And then I saw another figure. It looked like human figure. It's a barrel figure. It's a kind of, it became a part of Sri Lankan identity. Also because of the 1994 when the Chandragupta Bandaranaike came to power. So peace proposals, so I was a fan of that peace proposals.
Okay.
Yeah, so I always for peace, not the military solution, and for the political solution. Politically we have to resolve. Still, that point is, I think, is still valid. And how we are politically treating the people, how we can give the freedom, economical, cultural, whatever. So that is why then I saw, and with that peace process was broken, then war started. The next level of the war, under the Chandrika. And the first war started actually after 1983 July events, after the Black July. But at that time I was away. At that time it was like a war in northern parts and we are here. But when after 1904 it came all over Sri Lanka, kind of, they put a lot of barricades, and in Colombo, a lot of barrels came up with the colors and painted barrels. So I found that barrel is interesting as an image. So then I contemplated on that, and I found I can ask a lot of questions about the war and human life and history through that barrel image. It's not an empty vessel. It has a history. It was an innocent barrel in the peaceful times. We saw barrels around near the the roads, and they are building roads and preparing tar. The tar smells gives you kind of kind of road making. It's kind of connections. But this barrel is a kind of stopping you from coming to other side. You have to show your identity, and it's not just only war against the identity. Near the barricade, they are asking your identity. You have to prove that you are born in a place where there is no relationship to any war activities or terrorists. And you are a Sinhalese, so less issues. If you are a Tamil, okay, wait aside. And if you are born in somewhere in Vattala, Vampar or some other areas where the Tamils can live with after the 83 July, the new Tamil groups started to leave those areas. And so those identities, even with the Sinhalese names, have to wait until they are clearer. If you speak well Sinhala, even though Tamil, if without accents, you can pass through. It's a kind of identity, so the people always was looking for your identity card when you see a barrel. So that process also there, and the space restriction of the movement. You can't freely move here and there like before. So, and same time the history of war there. It's not the innocent barrel anymore. It's full of blood there. And from 1983 onwards.
And when did you create your first barrelism work?
The idea, first sketches started somewhere in 1996 with the camouflage and the camouflaging things. Because any government is very good at camouflaging things. So in that time, it's a war issue, they camouflage everything. If you're asking a question about economy, they camouflage it with the war. So they justify it with the war. If you're asking something, you would say no, and camouflage with other things. So that is why I started with the camouflage. Then the camouflage barrel came out in actually 1997 in October, after our first international artist camp in Sri Lanka. So I exhibited my works with the word barrelism. That time in October 1997, birth of the barrelism word.
And in that year, you didn't choose to exhibit on the 23rd of July. Was it the following year that this began?
Yeah, early years it was difficult to find the date, But somewhere in the year, closer to July or September or something like that, somehow within the year I had my annual show.
And did you know at that time that you were going to present this as an annual exhibition? Was that a decision that happened early on, or did it just...
From 1907, so just after introducing the barrelism, so every year some issues are coming up. So the surrounding issues and the surrounding... that's my way of doing. So that is why every year I have something to tell. So it's like a continuous one story, but various chapters.
But it happened organically in a sense that you didn't know at that time that your work would essentially become what it is today, which if we look back on these 22 exhibitions this year included, it is very much a documentation of sorts of the history of so many different political conversations. More often than not, conversations that we are less aware of via mainstream media. And this sort of documentation which you have done via your exhibitions and your multidisciplinary practice has become that over the years, and it shifted at some point to becoming also an exhibition that highlighted a very important date, the 23rd of July.
Yeah, and because it started like 90, even the, after 97 introduction, the 98, I started the show with the Heritage Gallery. Your first gallery was located there, in the Dharmapala Mawata. So that before you started your gallery, but there was a gallery called Heritage.
Yes.
So with that gallery, I started showing my work. And then Lionel Band,
With Ajit
those
Costa.
Ajit Costa and the Balbir Bodh, the Indian artist, managed that gallery. So they offer the space, artists to, you can do anything. So it's like me, artists like me, so that is very important for me, I'm not producing art for sell or something. I produce art to express myself, and that not say that anyone, if you like, you can buy my work, but it's different matter. But that is why I need a job also. That is why I can practice anything, even anyone. No one is buying my work, but I have some salary from my teaching.
But that's an interesting topic also as
How
your
to survive.
gallerist, because I know that you never work on a commission.
Yeah.
Unless it is for a public
Yes,
installation.
public installation.
You will not work on any
if you're asking the
commercial
repeat
commission
some
of works.
my
Yes.
kind of my work,
It's always
I might
been an
be the
absolute no. Yeah.
So you can't buy me, You can buy my work, but you can't buy, as a person. So I'm not saying others are bad because of their selling. No, that's my position. It's a kind of, because early work when I started with the barrelism, everybody was, who loved my figurative work. Oh, they were crazy. Why you are doing this kind of thing? You are the portrait painter, and why you are not continuing your work and like that. So they were unhappy with that because they are not getting the beautiful work. That is why the beginning of the barrelism, it's like always experiment. You are just doing a work, it's like a bee, you just produce. To become a bee, you have to produce the honey. The same way, I produce my work,
But that is also very much because you are an activist and an artist, and I believe those roles for you are very much intertwined. You can't look at them separately.
Because from the beginning also, I'd love to look at the people's issues, what happening to them. Might be from the childhood background also. It's like little bit progressive ideas. At that time, socialist was a progressive idea. Now it's different after the collapse of the Soviet Union, And now the capitalism trying to become a kind socialist approach, kind of. They transform to different. And so that now it's different world. But anyway, the values and, human rights and, those are the things we have to still fight. Kind of things, because that's your right, you have to understand it, you have to fight for it.
Absolutely.
So otherwise, no one is just giving you things, only you get your life. But after that, every step is a fight. Fight to school, fight to certificate, fight to get a job, fight to produce things, everything is kind of struggle. It's not a bloodshed, always a struggle, you have to struggle and, you have to achieve your goals. So that struggle is interesting, and when politically it's disturbing to the people's struggles and, diverted to the ethnic issues and, very repressive issues or chauvinism, Islamophobia or whatever, that is so bad, that is that. Then we have right, as an artist, I have a right to say things, because always artists, writers, filmmakers, they have kind of the people who are saying things what others cannot say.
And you have done that consistently
Yeah.
throughout all your exhibitions,
Yeah.
against all odds.
Yeah. That is why when I did the Master Dhammapada, I can remember that I have a continuation with the previous exhibition, some thoughts line coming to the next exhibition also. I had some small sketches for Dhammapada. The next exhibition was completely Dhammapada. One person came for the beginning and he spent nearly hours, looking at all the paintings, and he went out silently. And again, last day he came with the small Dagaba stupa in sand. He came with his daughter and he said, "This is for you." I said, "Yeah, why?" So because you are saying what the Buddha is saying. Not the monks are saying, but the monks has to come to your exhibition and see what the Buddha is saying, So that was a kind of appreciation of my work. Even though at that time, all the monks said, go out. They said they can teach how to shell bombs to northern areas or against terrorists.
Yeah.
I was in the position where the great General Kobakadua said, he said, we can keep the war going on. We can come to some kind of point of, kind of winning kind of situation. But we can't keep it until you give the political solutions. That's the generalist speaking, Kobakadua. So he was killed, but his words not killed yet. So you can see that he is the person of, kind of, even though you can ask a soldier, so real soldier, not the politicized, blind eye, with the euphoria of kind of Ranaviru, that word, but a real soldier who fought for the land, they will say, yes, war is bad. So that is why I think I know a lot of people, and from the beginning who joined the war. Some people joined because of they had no opportunity in jobs in Sri Lanka. That's the only opportunity you can go and fight for Sri Lanka. It's a job. I had a model and he suddenly left. It's Wajira, his name. He came from the Wadu area. Suddenly he disappeared from my live classes. And suddenly after 1 or 2 years he came back and he kept with the uniform. He didn't tell me and why he is going and leaving, or he didn't ask my permission. So he said, if I ask you, you will say no. That is why I left. So he said, then I asked, why you left? Why you went for army? And no, he said, I had no mother. I have a mother who brought me up. If I die, she will get money to live. That's his love for that fostering mother, That is why he wanted to go the war. So the various point of views are there. Some people, later might be the period people went to, with the kind of winning or kind of new kind of ideology. But from the beginning, when the war is happening, 30 years, long war, so everybody fed up with the war, Some people made business out of the war.
Of course.
So I know personally how people made business. I lived in Pagoda at that time. Suddenly, late nights, I can see how soldiers are coming with, sand and, supporting one of his lieutenant or general, kind of higher officers. They are coming to, like slaves, to work for him. But northern province, still war is going on. But they are making business here.
And that image of the soldier in works, some of the works titled Victor ?
Yeah, it's a Victor question. That is the 1998. I made that work after hearing about the lot of lives lost in the battle, Madamarachi. So that battle, but the government has said the reduced number of the bodies because they thought if they are saying the real figure might be the Sinhalese people will against, the government decisions, and so that is why so the time, very small number they said. Then if there will be a victory, so at that time I thought there will be all sides, both sides, and who victimize or victor and or the defeater, both sides will lost something, no legs, both sides it's the same coin as like two sides of the same coin. So that is why that question mark is coming. Still, that is why still that question is selling now here. War is sellable. So that is the tragedy. So that is why we have to ask questions still. We have to, as citizen of people here or citizens, we have to consciously build the society to everybody can share their lives and share economy, do contribution to the wealth of the country and yourself. That there are a lot of things people can do, but here, unfortunately, so everything turning other way around now here. So because of the power, the power hungry people, power. How I can't find the real word now. So,
but in your new exhibition,
yeah,
how do you talk about
the new exhibition? So that is why. So after the
current situation,
brief kind of democratic beliefs and nearly 4.5 years, that glitch period. Even though you have good signs, but clearly that is not visible. And too much democracy might be at that period. And some people misuse that democracy against the democracy to overthrow the democratic government. So if we went at least 5 more years with that democratic principle, I think we can stabilize the country. That's my personal opinion. So that my position. But anyways, I criticize same government also, which I supported. So it's not my supporter or not. Anyway, I have my own critical point. I always have it, with me, and looking at everything critically. So now this year I supposed to go out from Sri Lanka. April 15th was the date fixed, but unfortunately, COVID pandemic came. So then I have to postpone my visit to Europe. I wanted to go away from Sri Lanka for my sabbatical leave, 2 years, because of this unclear, muddy politics. I want to go away and, anyway 5 years you won't change anything here, because you gave the power to person, he will govern the country till 5 years if nothing wrong happened. So, but anyway, you can't change that position, But you will have a time, you have to give a chance to him also to govern.
But you're continuing your exhibitions at this time.
Yeah.
And you will continue them even when you're away?
Yes, I had idea to continue. That is the medal sketches I was developing at that time. So because medal is related to the war, you are wearing it like medals.
And the shadow of the soldier.
The shadow came up with various special task force happening in Sri Lanka now, A lot of the civil posts were given to the army personnel or retired people. But the kind of, new appointments are coming not from civilian side, For example, if I'm a teacher always, I will be a teacher always, even after retirement. It's professionally you are, tuned up to some kind of thinking, pattern of thinking, You are a professional philosopher, you always philosophizing, If you are a professional artist, you always looking at colors and shapes and forms and connotations, various
Speaking
things.
of which,
Yeah.
the title of your exhibition
Yeah.
and the way in which you title many of your works and exhibitions.
This is I think the atmosphere change. So atmosphere is normal. It's our political atmosphere, economical atmosphere. All the atmosphere change. But suddenly the political atmosphere changing, not towards a good sign. I have a fear. That is why I left the country also for a brief period. Because that fear I have always. So then that sound, atmosphere, when you hear that word, you can fear. That fear sound is there. So at most fear, that's the birth of new word, at most fear is look like atmosphere. So because you have to live with fear now. You are losing country, someone will occupy, someone will doing this, will be robbed, and you always with fear. That fear is, more fear is coming now. And fear is appearing more and more, it's not disappearing. So that is why the atmosphere, so we're going to live in that atmosphere. With atmosphere. So that is why this image, shadows are coming to my paintings. It's a known images to me. I use that image different way. Might be without limbs, and that I had a different approach to that image. Now, when it's coming to the civil space, no war, and the civil space. But if the soldiers are coming to that civil space, it's always bad. That is why we always criticize all the wars happening around the world. So their mindsets are different. Their way of thinking and way offering solutions, different manner. They are not listening to others. They obey to the orders. We have to have a society with the various opinions, not the one opinion is important. Even though I have my opinion, others also can have their opinions, And we have to argue and, discuss, agreed upon, or agree to disagree, so that's
but
the way of...
But it's interesting because you have faced so much criticism for being outspoken as an activist, as an artist. How do you deal with that? Because you have resiliently continued to speak out, to present your work.
Yeah, the earlier my life was from 97 is like artist activist. You do art with the ideas, to intervene the society. Mm-hmm. So from the 2009 when the Lasantha Vikramatunga was killed in front of the most secured area, I started the active participation in the politics. Until that, I did only my politics within my art.
Right.
Now I'm going back to the same situation now.
Okay.
That is why I can again kind of situation. We are going back to 2014. My last exhibition of this last government. Not the Mahinda Rajapaksa's government, 2014. I exhibited after beautification exhibition in the 30 years of the war, then 2013 the beautification, 2014 was the monotony exhibition. So that it has a big connection with that 2014 to 2020. So I don't know why I produced the previous year that mob. It is a part of that monotony exhibition, you know.
It connects.
It came with the new thing. That is why this 2014 images are
So you
coming
keep
again,
revisiting.
and I think putting up again to rethink.
Because many of the subjects that you discuss in your
We have to.
different series of works are still very relevant.
So then I have a right to question. These are my visual questions.
Yes.
So the people who are looking at, they have to lively answer that question, participate in the life and the society to, not for the bloodshed. No, that's enough. Too much blood shed in Sri Lanka. Too much blood from the Vijaya's period, from the more than 2,000 years, blood sheds. So, Vijaya came and killed yakshas, and the Pandukabya kills others, and various kings kill other kings, not the king,
Long
kind
history
of
bloodshed.
yeah, kind of. And so that's enough,
Yeah.
We have to go back to the civilized. You have to work, respect the people's other opinion, and not to oppress that opinion. But it has a right to have its opinion. And the world also, and the fear is everywhere now, not in only Sri Lanka. It's a kind of Europe also, Islamophobia, and everywhere. Some people still thinking the military is the solution. It's not the Sri Lankan solution to the issues now. It's a kind of
It's a global problem.
global problem. Everybody wants to have their own land.
And it's interesting because your work does relate to so many different conversations on a global level, and your work has been exhibited internationally.
That is why this fear, atmosphere everywhere. Trump in atmosphere, he is fearing about Korea, Northern Korea, and now it's Wuhan and COVID and everything. He is fearing about it. If you go to UK, Boris, so he also in fear. In Europe, the neo-Nazis are coming up. There are a lot of fears in there. So everywhere, fear.
And do you find that is how your work is received from the international audience? You've done a lot of work in, whether it's collaborations in India, in Europe. How is your work conceived by people who are less familiar with Sri Lanka's?
That's even though the Sri Lanka not familiar with the Sri Lanka, it's a kind of common issue.
Exactly.
Life is everywhere. So if something happened to the life, it's Sri Lankan or European or American, Korean, whatever. It's the same thing. And it's a political body. Something happened to that political body. Destabilization, various things. Same thing happened to the human life also. That is why it's very important to have a healthy space to live. Healthy atmosphere, not atmosphere. So that is why I'm juxtaposing that. I love parody word. I love to play with the words. So with playing with the words, you can provoke your mind. Even though some people might be, they don't like my work. That's good. Then they have to start thinking about my work. Why you don't like it? So it's not the kind of I'm not trying to fool your eye. Beautifying your eyes. Kind of. So I'm still looking for the paint normal human figures, but unfortunately still that chance is not coming for me. So if I can dedicate my whole life, open studios to people, come and sit there and I paint, that's good.
Would you be able to do that?
I think might be the Yeah, if I settle, kind of, but again the irritation, even though when I'm doing a human figure, even when the early period also human figure, these questions I'm asking through that my human figure. And my personal questions might be the, loss of mother, the love to, motherhood, so kind of, those questions I ask in some paintings, And now this society became a part of my life. So that is why it's a kind of extension of your body, this society. Something happened to this society, it's happened to me now. So that I'm a social being now. So that is why I can't still go away from those issues still, because there are things to settle here, and but peacefully and democratically. Yeah.
Thank you, Thenu.
Yeah.
Thank you for inviting us into your
Thanks,
studio
Saskia.
today.
Yeah, allow me to have at least this year when I'm trying to go away from Sri Lanka. Last time we discussed, might be you will have my retrospective here, but when I stuck here, so then I have a chance to do it. So thanks organizing the at least online to go with the
We're always honored to host your
Thanks.
annual exhibition, Thenu. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Saskia.
Thank you.
Okay.